In this video, we'll talk about how to find sources for your History 299 research paper. I'm Dawn Emsalem. I am your librarian for this course. And if you have any questions after this, you can email me at dawn.emsalem@salve.edu or Google Dawn Salve Library. So for this paper, the first thing we're going to do is identify a search strategy for this research assignment. And we're going to identify the research tools that are going to be useful for finding these sources, as Google may not serve you as well for scholarly research. And we're going to learn tips for reviewing the results and finding the ones that are best for your paper. So the first thing we're going to do is look at your assignment instructions, where your professor has noted that he wants you to use secondary sources and that primary sources are fine as well. Primary sources are often useful in history assignments, and you have an online research guide attached to your Canvas course under Library Resources that describes the difference between primary and secondary sources and some places where you can find them. So for our search strategy, first we're going to identify the types of sources that will be most useful for your particular research question. These will probably be books, scholarly articles, and then you may find that depending on your topic, newspaper articles, or letters or journals or other sources may be useful as well. Then we're going to find the search tools that are probably going to be the most useful for finding these types of things. And we're going to think about search terms for your research question that may be related. And then when we search in each of our search tools, we're going to look at what what words the scholars are using to describe your topic. And we're going to add them to your search phrases that you're going to try. Then we'll iterate your search in each of the search tools we're going to talk about. And what are these search tools? They're going to be the library book catalog, our journal and ebook database JSTOR, Google Scholar, the library's article search, and some newspaper databases which you may find useful. So with that, let's jump into the library's homepage. And if you Google Salve Library, you'll get to this page and it will default to the book search, which is highlighted right here. And we can try our search here. For example, if we're doing a paper on the Church of Latter-day Saints and African Americans, we can try putting those words in this. And this catalog works much better if you use fewer words. So we'll see how this search did. And here we can see that we got 48 results, which isn't bad. And that tells us there's a fair amount out there and that our words are working. And as we scroll down, we notice right away that Mormon is another word that we can use instead of the Church of Latter-day Saints. So we'll keep that in mind for our other searches. In this one, right away, we see another search term. Blacks is a word that this author is using to refer to African Americans, although that may be a broader term that may not only include African American people, but other members of the African diaspora. And if we can see that it's an ebook. So there's a few things we can do. First, if we click on the title, we may find out a few bits of information. So this content note on the left is the chapter headings. So you can see a bit more about what the book is about. And under here, we have the Library of Congress subject headings. And right away, we see that there's a subject heading that is really useful for this topic, African American Latter-day Saints history. And here it says sources, which means it's probably talking about primary sources. So with that, I think it's a great idea to click on that because we'll find all of the books that are on that topic. So I'm going to right-click on it and open it in a new tab so we can still look at this book. So to view the ebook, I'll click right here. And this is one of our ProQuest ebooks. So if we want, we can click on Read Online to see the book inside. And it also allows you to go through the chapter headings. And we can talk about, and we can see if there are other phrases in here that we want to see. So we might think about major figures in the Mormon Church, such as Joseph Smith or Brigham Young. And you can also read within the book. If you wanted to, you could get the citation by clicking on this little quotation mark right here, and you can get your Chicago citation. And you can also download sections or chapters of the book or actually, it's easier without having to make an account to click on either print to PDF or PDF. And let's go back to the library catalog again. You can also get a citation from here by clicking on Cite and choosing your citation style. Now we're going to check and see what that subject heading brought back. So we got one result, but let's try removing this word sources and see if anything else comes back. And now we have 3 results. And there is a few here that look like they might be interesting. This one says it's a print book, and it says it's at HELIN libraries, but that's fine. Those are our libraries in our loan network. So if you click on this title, if you wanted it, you'd read the summary to see if there was anything about African Americans in here. And I see that there's a fair amount about African Americans in here, as well as this subject heading. Then you can request from HELIN by clicking on this button, and it will automatically fill out all of your information for you if you're logged in. And you'll tell it that you want to pick up at Salve Regina University at McKillop Library, and then the book will come within the week usually. So that is just a bit about searching in our catalog. If we go back to the library's homepage, we can also search the library's article search. And in this one, we can try the Church of Latter-day Saints and African Americans and see what comes back in our EBSCO host databases. We see we have 203 results, which is quite a lot. And if we scroll down, we can see some other terms. For example, a broader term would be the Church of Latter-day Saints and race. So those are another words that we may use. There are also sort of outdated terms that we could use if we wanted to see materials that were addressing an earlier time in history. And if we wanted to see any of these, in this case, this one is available right away. If we click on PDF full text, we can see the article. This is not it may not be a academic article because it was noted in the EBSCO host that it's a periodical as opposed to an academic journal. But we can still read it, and your professor may accept it as one of your sources. On the right-hand side here, this little yellow rectangle, if you click on it, you can get your Chicago citation. And if you wanted to get the PDF, you could click on download PDF here or download with this little arrow right here. If we look back at our results again and you see this find full text request this item, that means that the article isn't in this database. But if you click on it, it'll look in all of our other databases to see if it's somewhere else. And in this case, it was unable to find it, but you could just click on request through interlibrary loan. It'll fill out all your information and it'll get emailed to you. Another one that we could do, if we click on this title, you can see more information here. So we also have subject headings in our EBSCO host database. And if we click on this one, it looks like it might be a good subject heading for this paper. So if you click on it, it will redo your search looking for only articles that are about race relations, religious aspects in the Church of Latter-day Saints. And this one might be a really useful one. You could add search terms such as African American, or you could add other search terms, such if you were interested in someone's, a particular person, a figure, historical figure, you could add it and it would add more articles. And you can limit by date, although for historical research that might not be necessary. And if you only wanted to look at academic journals, you could also click this limiter here. So that is our EBSCO host databases. From this articles tab in the library's homepage, we can also get to our JSTOR database by clicking right here. And JSTOR has ebooks and journal articles. And we can try our search here again and see what comes back. And you will see this one had a lot of results. JSTOR also includes images. And we can see this one, we're not sure if our search term about African Americans is really coming up, although I do see this book looks interesting. So we may want to download, this is a chapter in this book. So we'll download this chapter and see what it's about. And what you can do is you can do Control or Command if you're using a Mac F and do a search term. Like if you were looking for Brigham Young, you could try Young to see if he came up, and there is his name right there. So that's just an efficiency tip when you're looking through PDFs or on web pages. You can do Control or Option F. And if we wanted to use this and we wanted to cite it, you could click on the Cite button right here and grab your Chicago citation. And note that there are some, it's not necessarily entirely correct. Here you can see the author's name is all capitalized, and you'll want to fix that. So going back again, that is JSTOR, and if you want, you can, I would probably switch these around and see what happens when we try Mormon as well. But this search has been particularly successful, so we can use the phrases that we started out with. Now, the next search that we're going to try is Google Scholar. So if we open a page, we just Google Scholar. And if we try our search here, you can see we're looking for when there's a PDF on the side here. And so this is a book, which I believe might be a dissertation, but we can click on it here. And yeah, it says it's a doctoral dissertation, which may be a bit much for you to use. And it may not be the best source for this paper, but you could ask your professor if that was acceptable, if you really wanted to use it. And then if we saw this one, for example, this is actually taking us back to JSTOR. So if we clicked on this, it would take us back into JSTOR. But if we wanted to cite this article, we could click on Cite and grab this Chicago citation. So usually anytime you see these little quotes, it'll take you to the citation, which can be very helpful for grabbing your Chicago style citation. The other thing to look at is that the cited by in Google Scholar can tell you how significant the article is. It gives you a little bit of an idea of how useful this article might be by seeing how much other scholars have cited it. So that is another thing that is useful. And if we go back to the library homepage again, if we wanted to look at newspaper databases, I'm going to click on Databases A to Z, and I'm going to look at one great newspaper database to use is the New York Times Historical. So I'm clicking on N for New York Times, and we're going to click on New York Times Historical. And if we do our search here, this database works a little bit differently than the other ones we've used, but we can try it. It's searching for each of these words in the entire full text of the article. So this one is not giving us a lot of really relevant results. So what we're going to do is we're going to try putting quotes around our search phrases, and that will keep the words together when it's searching. And it didn't work. So that's information for us. So we might try the word Mormon instead and see if that helps us. And here we see an article that looks like it might actually hit the spot for us. So if we click on this, this is an article from 1978. And if we wanted to cite it, we could click on our cite button right here. If we wanted to download it, we could click right there. And if we were looking for the actual coverage of a particular event in history, the publication date limiter can be very helpful. So if you know the exact year that an event occurred, you can limit by using the date slider or entering the date range in here, and that will change your results as well. So with that, I think you're ready to go ahead and try to do your research and your research activity.